Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Kari's Confessions, a nonprofit exec tells all. I'm Kari Anderson, your host and principal with Incite Consulting. My podcast explores the tools and strategies that help nonprofit leaders grow their impact and build resilient organizations. As always, I'm here to share some hard-earned lessons and honest truths from life inside the nonprofit world. I spent 25 plus years in the nonprofit sector in leadership roles with 7 organizations. Now I provide coaching and consulting services to ensure that nonprofits like yours have the systems, practices, and to do your best work. So wherever I go, I continue to hear that nonprofit execs need a space to gather, to receive tools, feedback, and advice that encourages them to stay the course. It doesn't matter if you're in a village of 182 or a metropolis of millions, nonprofit work is both gratifying and lonely. I'm here to make sure that you have a chance to breathe, laugh, smirk, and hopefully get excited again about the important work that you do. Now, before you decide you're wandering into a different channel, I'm warning you, we're talking about audits today. Yes, I know. Cue collective groan and deep sighs, maybe a stress eye twitch already. Audits, regardless of organization, have this magical ability to turn smart, capable teams into frantic detectives. Suddenly, everyone is asking, has anyone seen that spreadsheet? Who approved this last spring? Wait, what did we tell the last auditor? And here's the confession I want to make right out of the gate. Most audit stress does not come from the audit. It comes from uncertainty and last-minute scrambling. When you don't know what's coming, when you don't know where the evidence lives, when you don't know who owns what, everything feels personal, and it doesn't need to. So today I'm going to walk you through a zero stress audit checklist, whether you're dealing with financial audits, compliant audits, vendor assessments, security reviews, or some delightful combination of all of the above. The goal is simple: documentation ready, people aligned, zero surprises. And yes, boring audits, because boring audits, that's the dream. So first, we want to talk about a mindset shift. This changes everything. And again, I think back to my years in the field. Oh, do I wish I would have had this tool. So here's the first shift that lowers stress immediately. You are not studying for a test. You're proving that your everyday process is real. Auditors aren't asking, are you perfect? They're asking, what did you say you do? How do you actually do it? Can you prove that you did it? Stress shows up when one of those 3 is missing, scattered, or contradicted by reality. When those 3 line up, you stop reacting. You start running the audit like a normal business process. And that's the difference between panic and control. So, step 1, get clear on what this audit actually is. Before you collect a single document, you need clarity, because vague scope creates chaos. Audits usually fall into buckets like financial audits, security or controls audits, operational or process compliance, vendor and third-party assessments, privacy or regulated data compliance. You don't need to become an expert in every framework. You just need to understand, what are they sampling and why? So write this down, not in your head, on paper. Which entities or departments are in scope? Which locations? Which systems? What time period? What control areas? And if you know it, sample sizes. Clear scope is protective. It prevents over-collecting, which frankly we do not have time for, oversharing, and over-panicking. So define pass before you panic. What does this mean? This part sounds obvious. It is shockingly often skipped. Ask early, what counts as an acceptable exception? Is there a remediation window? Are management responses expected? What does sufficient evidence actually mean? Then, and this is one of my favorite tricks, again, what I wish I would have known, create a 1-page audit brief. 1 page, no drama, no jargon. It answers who, what, when, where, how, not unlike old school journalism, and what success looks like. Share it with everyone involved. That single page will save you hours of re-explaining and second guessing. So Here's a little bit of a jumbled mystery, right? I have something called the 30-15-7 day plan. 30-15-7. And it removes about 80% of the chaos. And the majority of folks involved in audit, we're not controllers. We're not your bookkeepers and we're not CPAs. We're rank and file staff that are having to go ahead and collect data. So audits feel overwhelming when prep is fuzzy and endless. So a short runway forces decisions. So 30 days out from your audit, confirm and freeze the scope, assign roles, create your request tracker, even if it's empty, collect baseline evidence, spot check a few controls to see what breaks first. 15 days out, close the gaps, update short process narratives, run mock walkthroughs, confirm logistics and escalation paths. 7 days out, finalize evidence folders, verify access, dry run interviews, create a contingency plan. Pro tip, again, the things I wish I would have known, put these on a shared calendar like launch milestones. It changes the emotional tone from panic to execution. And again, stop letting one person do everything unless you want them to quit. If your audit plan is everyone helps, what you usually get is one exhausted person and a lot of forwarded emails. Instead, use the audit captain model. You do need an audit captain, one voice, one tracker, evidence owners, the people who actually produce proof, whether that's program, whether that's fund development, system admins, so reports, access, configurations, an approver who does your final sign off, an executive sponsor for roadblocks. This isn't bureaucracy. It's how you avoid chaos, shared leadership. So when we do an audit, we need to build an evidence library. And this is the easy mode. An evidence library is the difference between we can't find it to here's the link. Pick a structure. Stick to it. Standardize file naming. I beg you. If you do nothing else, stop creating final v2 real.pdf. Decide what counts as official. System of record, dated exports, screenshots only when necessary with context. Prepackage the evidence auditors ask for every year. This is how audits stop feeling new and start feeling routine. It's a business process. So do a minute audit first, like do a mini pre-audit. And this is really to help you catch the gaps. You don't need a full internal audit. Pick 3 to 5 high-risk controls. Test a few samples. Look for missing approvals, weird timestamps, orphaned access, narratives that don't match reality. If the process changed, update the document now. That's okay. Auditors do not like, we used to do that. Create a simple gap log. Own it, fix it, move on. That's maturity. Your business has changed, so do your processes. So prep your people without scripting or panic. Auditor interviews are not interrogations. They are confirmation conversations. Teach your team this response pattern. Answer what's asked. Reference the documented process. Point to the evidence. And the most professional sentence in an audit, let me confirm that and follow up with evidence. Guessing creates findings. Clarity builds trust. So during the audit, stay boring, people. Stay in control. Operate from the tracker. One voice, one intake channel. Handle easy wins first. Clarify unclear requests in writing. Document expectations cleanly. Auditors can work with reality. They cannot work with confusion. After the audit, because I promise you the audit does end, make the next one lighter already. Findings aren't shame, they're instructions. Always. Translate them into owners, due dates, closure evidence. Fix the system, not just the symptom. Update your evidence library immediately while context is fresh. Then hold a short retro. What caused the stress? What removes stress? What should be standardized? That's how the next year gets easier because, folks, you're not just a one and done with an audit. An audit for most entities happens every 3 years. With larger organizations, it's going to happen every year. So To wrap up today, your zero stress audit loop. Here's the loop to repeat: scope, roles, evidence library, pre-audit review, clean packaging, calm people prep, one voice execution, immediate remediation. If you want to start small, do this. Pick 10 evidence items you'll need every year. Build that folder this week. That single step changes everything faster than any fancy framework. And here's my final challenge for you. Schedule a 30-minute audit runway session today. Create your one-page audit brief. Set your 30, 15, 7 milestones. When your next audit arrives, it should feel routine, not personal. And that, my friends, is how you make audits boring again. Thanks for joining me today for Kari's Confessions, a nonprofit exec tells all. If you found this episode helpful, share it with a colleague or board member, and make sure to follow me on your favorite streaming platforms. For additional resources and tools, follow me on LinkedIn. You can also check out my website at inciteconsultinggroup.com. Until next time, have a great week.